Let's do another quilt stitch video. This is number 11 and this is the design that we're going to be working on today. I'm starting on the orange scalloped edges and I'm going to do just a fly stitch in orange over the top. Now some of these scallops are a little bit bigger than others, so on this one I'm going to fit in 3 fly stitches, but on some of them I might just do 2 fly stitches. You might find that if you do very small fly stitches, you might even want to fit in 4. Now when I finish over here, I'm just going to bring my needle straight up and start the next scallop. There's no need to finish off on the reverse. Next, those 2 round orange circles, as you probably guessed, they're done in a satin stitch, also in the orange. And I'm seriously running out of thread here, but I think I'm going to make it till the end. Remember to divide the shape in half first. Next, we're going to do those little stems that lead from those orange circles, and I've decided to do those in a stem stitch. It's a pretty simple decision. If you want to do them in a chain stitch or a back stitch, you absolutely can. It's just an outline stitch and I like stem stitch, so I did it in a stem stitch. Now the olive green leaves, I'm just going to add a little bit of texture into the middle by stitching a fly stitch. But notice that I'm not actually carrying the side stitches all the way to the edges on the whole leaf. It's only at the top, so the first couple of fly stitches do touch the edges of the leaves, but then all the other ones, they don't go all the way out to the edges. It would be too big, the stitches would be too long. So this I find is enough, and we can just finish that off there and do the same on the other leaves. Then to outline the leaves, I've done that also in a stem stitch. And again, like before, if you prefer to outline it with something else, that's absolutely fine. When we get to the top of that leaf, I'm just going to show you how to restart the stem stitch, so how to turn a sharp corner. So you just bring your needle out, maybe half a centimetre away, pop it back into the top corner, and then bring it back out halfway in between. And once you've done that, you can just continue with your stem stitch. Next, we're going to outline that red part of the scalloped edges, and I'm going to do that with a chain stitch. So we're just going to start off with one small little stitch so that you can slide your thread underneath it, and then we're just going to continue on like the chain stitch is done normally. Now I'm going to go all the way around into that corner because I want to show you there's a neat little trick to make those corners nice and sharp with a chain stitch. So there's our last chain stitch. Now I'm going to come out on the other side, obviously, slide my needle under, but you can see that by pulling that last chain stitch looks quite crooked. It's kind of leaning to the side. So we want to open that up. And I'm going to stick my needle back out from that corner, and then I'm going to place a single tiny little holding stitch. Sorry, I'm covering it up with my hands, but you will see what I mean. A tiny little holding stitch that sort of opens that last chain stitch up, and then you simply continue onto the next scallop. I'm going to do that again in case you didn't see that too clearly because my hand was in the way. There we go. We're going to do one more chain stitch, slide that needle under, and you can see that that chain stitch kind of is leaning over, like falling over to the side. So I'm going to open that up by bringing my needle up at that corner point, and then just placing a single tiny little holding stitch to open that last chain stitch up. I hope that makes sense. Next, it's the orange scallops, and once again I just want to add a bit of texture into them, and I'm going to do 2 fly stitches on each of the scallops. And just like before, when you finish your first scallop, just bring your needle up onto the next scallop. The spaces are nice and close together. Three French knots, nice and easy. Now that center purple part, those 3 center petals, I've decided to fill them completely with the purple and with a closed fly stitch. So I'm just going to show you, if you're not familiar with the closed fly stitch, it's exactly the same as the regular fly stitch, except that the stitches are much closer together. That's why it's called the closed fly stitch. So you can see how tightly together I'm keeping them. Not super tight, obviously, but they're sort of sitting like a satin stitch. And then that is what's going to cover the whole petal, and then the other 2 on either side as well. Now, you might be left with the little gaps around the edges like that. You can just fill them with single stitches, just to close up those blank spaces. That blue half circle shape underneath, again, just a little bit of texture. You can choose to do your own stitches on there. I added some running stitches, so it kind of looks like a little basket, I guess. It's a very easy and very quick thing to do. So that's just the running stitch from right to left and then from left to right, and I'm using like a brickwork effect so that the stitches are staggered. The white rays coming out of the sides, I'm going to do in the ecru, and just using a simple back stitch on those. They're a bit too long to do a single stitch. Now we're going to outline the inside part of the heart, and the whole thing is going to be done in a whipped stitch. The first thing I'm doing is laying down back stitches in the light blue, which is the 503. So you're going to do that all the way around the heart. And then we're going to get a different color, and I'm using the olive. You can choose whatever other color you like. And this is the whipped stitch, so you're just going to wind that thread underneath every one of those back stitches. It gives a really beautiful two-toned effect. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.